every step of the way. Now, how many of you remember the Jetsons? For those who are not familiar, it was a space-age animated TV series from the 1960s that was revived in the 1980s. The Jetsons lived in a futuristic world of robots, flying automobiles, drones, and smartwatches. 30 years ago, we thought these projects were purely science fiction. Those of us who grew up watching the Jetsons, Star Wars, and Star Trek only dreamed about these things, this type of a future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from this video, flying automobiles are not just fiction anymore. They're here. It's our future, and we dreamed of it, and it's here. How many of you are wearing a smartwatch today? Anyone wearing a smartwatch? If you're wearing a smartwatch, you're one of the 12% of the consumers who own one, but that number is expected to grow to 60% by the end of this year. Millennials, they're making up a large number of our consumers, and our Millennials in Mobility report, the APTA report, found that those riders are very practical in their decision making. They will use public transportation when it's their best choice for the particular trip, and they will switch to other options as their needs desire. And while APTA recognizes itself as the land of where people are very resistant to using anything other than their automobile, evidence is telling us that younger generations are attracted to public transportation and will choose other choices. For example, driver's license data in the United States shows us that the following: 47% decline in drivers among 16-year-olds over the past 20 years. A 21% decline as it relates to 19-year-olds, and a 16% decline for those aged 20 to 24. According to TechCrunch.com, 39 million Americans own a smart speaker or digital assistant like Amazon Alexa, a tool that aims to improve people's lives by helping them with their day-to-day activities, such as turning lights on and off, getting the weather forecast, or making a simple shopping list. And for the past couple of years, drones have made up one of the most attractive for gift giving. Each year, hundreds of thousands of drones are being sold to consumers in the United States. So while we may not have flying automobiles just yet in our garages, we will not be that far away from that reality. In Europe, you have been on the cutting edge in the field of autonomous vehicles for many years, and now we are embracing this new technology in the US. Autonomous vehicles are disrupting our mobility paradigm and changing the way that we think, plan, and act in public transportation. This disruption is creating a new world of public transportation and driving more and more demand for mobility services. And this technology is providing us with new service delivery models, helping us focus better on the needs of our consumers and improving our speed to market and our decision making. Today, the phrase mobility as a service is often used to mean different things to different players. For public transit, I think it captures the promise and potential of an ambitious, interconnected network of public and private transportation modes, all circled around delivering our customers a customer-centric experience rather than just simply a seat on a vehicle. We can transform our future if we think of ourselves as service providers, as integrators and coordinators of mobility choices rather than operators of buses, trains, and trams. Because of these current trends, my core belief is that we are at a transformational time in our industry. I have established, as the chair of APTA, 5 critical priorities to lead APTA into the future. Priority number 1 is leadership and advocacy. By establishing a strong advocacy agenda, we ensure that our industry is well represented, depicted, and protected. APTA is leading an advocacy agenda that takes no one opinion for granted, and one that business members and our public members of different organizations can unite. Priority number 2 is our workforce of the future. We need to build a new workforce with this new mobility paradigm. We need the best and we need the brightest. We need to modernize many of our frontline jobs to a higher professional standard by linking them to certifications as well as measurable competencies. Number 3 Our third priority is leveraging big data. In our industry, we compile a great deal of data, but are we leveraging that data to its full potential? We can provide public officials with the information that they need to support and to fight for our industry. Also, by making smart data-driven decisions, we will improve and enhance our customer experiences. Number 4 is enterprise risk management. This helps us determine the threats and opportunities in all of these areas. As we expand our use of technology to include data sharing, driverless vehicles, and the threat of cybersecurity continues to grow. There are a lot of unknowns in this field, but our job is not to sit and wait. Our job is to prepare for each growing risk. And priority number 5 is the new mobility paradigm. This is where I'll spend a great deal more time because I think it's so important. As I mentioned earlier, mobility for our customers has changed, and it must change for us. This paradigm shift is allowing new players to enter into the transportation market, and we need to look at the investment that is being made by the top 5 companies related to automated and connected vehicle technology. They've invested over $46 billion in research and development in 2015 alone, and the pace is accelerating with the investments in 2018 actually surpassing the investments in the past. Companies are investing in what they anticipate future markets will be, and experts are seeing that the automobile as the first commercial AV application to be deployed. Almost every week, we read about another company that has entered the space of moving people from one place to another. They're doing it better, faster, safer, and more personalized. Transportation that is easily accessible from your mobile device, and of course, now driverless. So to prepare APTA members for this new paradigm, we need to prepare a shared, holistic vision of mobility across all modes. This will help us position our industry to move people in the most efficient way possible, and transit will serve as a backbone for this new multimodal lifestyle. Cities from across the country and in the United States are doing innovative projects with automated shuttles, top-to-bottom system overhauls, mobility on demand pilots, as well as microtransit. Arizona, Nevada, and Florida are leading the pack in automated vehicle projects. In early 2018, I had the opportunity to attend the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I got a chance to ride an autonomous transit shuttle in their street. The shuttle, which is a partnership between AAA and Keolis, studies how the shuttle interacts in a real-world environment and how others are sharing the street, how they react to it, and what riders think about the experience. Automated vehicles are being used in circulator systems and in first and last mile operation. Now, while these are valuable and viable, additional service models are also emerging, such as AV shuttles and demand responsive services in especially low density and low ridership areas. In many of these communities, AV services will connect riders with mainline transit systems. Transit agencies have also formed partnership with transportation network companies to implement pilot projects. In San Francisco, Atlanta, and Miami, they have first and last mile solutions being implemented. In St. Petersburg, Florida, they're implementing a low-density vehicle shuttle. And Boston, Massachusetts, and York, Pennsylvania have demand response initiatives. All of these are embracing a new spirit of culture and a culture of innovation and smart risk-taking. Let me take a moment and mention a few more projects going on in the United States. The Dallas Transit Agency will improve their GoPass app to offer riders first and last mile options based on price, travel, and arrival time, with the ability to pay for these services using one app. In the Seattle region, the King County Metro system is working with carpool app providers to create a service where it will incentivize carpooling as an option to its customers. And in New York, they're actually doing a top-to-bottom redesign of their entire bus network. That includes new state-of-the-art buses, more bus lanes, and actually all-door boarding. And I'm also pleased to recognize the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, LA Metro, which is being honored here today. LA Metro is leading innovation in so many ways, including integrating bike sharing into its TAP fare payment system, nurturing ideas from the private sector through its unsolicited bid process, and its recent contract awards for 3 microtransit pilot projects to provide flexible, on-demand mobility service. And it doesn't stop there. LA Metro was the first transit system in North America to receive platinum status in APTA's sustainability recognition. Trailblazer without question. And my colleague Phil Washington will be speaking to right after I finish, and will share more with you. These are just a handful of examples of how transit agencies are reimagining public transportation and how they serve their communities. But it's not just the public sector, it's also the private sector. We see General Motors and Waymo racing to launch an urban robo-taxi service. Waymo has racked up more than 4 million self-driving driving miles to date, and is working on offering a commercial automated ride-hailing service in Phoenix later this year. So new private sector startups have taken advantage of mobile technology, and they're actually using open data systems to launch a multitude of new mobility services. Uber, Lyft, Via, Chariot, Hyperloop, Motivate, Car2Go, and Zipcar are among the members of APTA now. We view them as components of an integrated mobility ecosystem. Some of our public transit systems are still using traditional methods for fare collection, such as tap, pay, and pay, tickets and coins, and the private sector is helping us lead the way with new technologies and introducing them into our systems. APTA member companies such as Movall, Cubic, Genfare, Masabi, Transit App, and Visa are just a few of the companies that are using cutting-edge technologies such as biometric scanning, which recognizes a person based on their physiological characteristics. And others have embraced mobile ticketing programs for the tech-savvy commuters who use their phones for almost everything. Transportation agencies are also considering ways to more broadly deploy driver assistance technologies and automated vehicles in safe, controlled environments to enhance operating efficiencies and reduce collisions. Back at my own agency in Florida, we are exploring new strategies to ensure that AV technology and mobility options like ride sharing, ride sourcing, car sharing, bike sharing, as well as microtransit are well integrated into our system. At the JTA, we are experimenting with taxi and sponsored services, and in fact, the business cases are so strong, we recently replaced some of our low-performing community shuttles with taxi operations in areas that had low density and ridership. We've also partnered with an on-demand service called the Beachside Buggies to replace a seasonal, underutilized trolley in our beaches communities. The buggies are much better suited for the types of trips that are made in a beach environment, and both of these efforts are helping us reduce costs, but more importantly, they're providing customer-responsive services. And while this is innovative in its resourcefulness, let me tell you about a very exciting project we are also implementing at my system in Jacksonville, Florida. We are converting an aging fixed guideway system to serve a broader purpose, leveraging infrastructure, utilizing new automation and other technologies to provide an on-demand and connected autonomous network. We call this system the Ultimate Urban Circulator, or the U2C. This exciting video that I'm getting ready to show right now is a vision of our future and how this new system will serve the Jacksonville community well into the future.
In the late 1980s, the Automated Skyway Express, or Skyway, was developed to provide convenient links throughout downtown, Convention Center, and Florida State College of Jacksonville. Building on the success of the initial Skyway, a crossing over the St. Johns River connecting to the South Bank and Kings Avenue Skyway Station was added later. The 2.5-mile system now moves 1.2 million passengers annually. After more than 25 years of service, the Skyway is due for modernization. New technologies such as automated vehicles and mobile smart devices offer greater flexibility for public transit. And exciting opportunities to build on our existing assets, creating a more accessible, versatile, demand-responsive, world-class system to more fully connect downtown with our vibrant urban neighborhoods and get people where they want to go. Let's look at the potential. The existing Skyway serves downtown Jacksonville and connects the North Bank and South Bank of the scenic St. Johns River. This project, the Ultimate Urban Circulator, or U2C, makes new connections possible and gives customers the ability to reach more destinations. The new system extensions link downtown to adjacent neighborhoods and vibrant activity centers. Springfield, San Marco, the growing medical complex, and important destinations in between, including the new multimodal hub, the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center. This plan complements emerging developments such as the mixed-use Brooklyn area, the district, the shipyard's revitalization, and the river enhancement plans along the St. Johns River. Assets from the existing system, including the elevated structure and stations, are repurposed to reduce costs, while state-of-the-art operating technology and vehicles are incorporated to create a new, improved system and experience for the city. The existing infrastructure is transformed by removing the guide beam and adding a smooth running surface. The U2C offers the latest technology to allow customers to easily plan, track, and pay, turning their trips into efficient, custom-made journeys. Vehicles run together or independently based on customer need. They are routed to busier sections to meet demand and improve frequency, reducing wait times and serving more people. They connect and disconnect at strategic locations for efficiency. A seamless transition from the elevated structure to the street level creates new destinations and greater accessibility, while preserving the character of adjacent neighborhoods. The automated vehicles run in dedicated lanes or in mixed traffic as technology and conditions permit. Features, including advanced controls at intersections, will guide crossing traffic safely and efficiently. Access for all customers is paramount. The system offers the latest accessibility features, providing enhanced services for all passengers. The new system is visually appealing with interior features and best-in-class passenger amenities, such as comfortable seating, electronic information displays, and security cameras for an enjoyable, futuristic, and safe ride experience. By building on our past, employing cutting-edge technology, and working together with our partners and the community, JTA will advance Jacksonville's transit versatility and continue to invigorate the city's economy with transportation options that will allow our citizens to live, work, and play well into the future. Just imagine the possibilities.
The first phase of the U2C will be operational in 2 years, followed by conversion of the elevated structure within the next 4 years. The system will triple the size of our current monorail operation and have the capacity to serve 3 times the number of customers for what we predict will be the same cost of operating the current system. This system is scalable, uses automation to lower our cost per passenger. It improves the service in underserved communities and enables us to utilize smart corridors to facilitate shared mobility services and smart city initiatives. In the end, how the transportation industry captures new technologies will help define transit's role in the emerging mobility ecosystem. With that in mind, we at the JTA, through this U2C program, is looking to assist in establishing the roadmap for the future of public transportation. I'm very proud to lead APTA, an association that sets the stage for our industry to grow and prosper and the JTA, who is also doing some innovative and multimodal activities in the state of Florida. I think we serve as an example of what you can accomplish and succeed in if you are able to embrace change. So to keep up with changing times and wants and needs of our riders today, I think my priorities as the APTA chair has challenged America's transportation systems to think and act boldly like we've never done in the past. With that in mind, APTA is hosting its first Mobility Management Summit in Washington, D.C. on July 11th and 12th, where the theme is the future of mobility from transit authority to mobility integrator. This summit will focus on the changes we see in the mobility marketplace being driven by innovation, and I hope you're able to come to Washington, D.C. and join me next month. Our goal is to encourage an open and creative discussion about the role that public transit will play in this new world where mobility is a service. This is the beginning of a journey that takes us to new places and takes us to new opportunities. So before Mr. Washington comes up, I want to encourage all of you to embrace the future and imagine the possibilities, because if you can dream it, I think anything is possible. As I look around the room, I see colleagues from various different cultures, from various different countries, and they speak multiple languages. We have our own experiences, our own expectations, but one thing that we have in common is our customers. We must shift our paradigms in order to not just meet their expectations, but to far exceed their expectations. Throughout the world, people are using our systems every day. They take our buses, our trains, our ferries, our subways, our monorails to work, school, grocery stores, sporting events, medical appointments, you name it, and they do more with that. Again, we find ourselves at another crossroads to the first industrial revolution that brought us mechanization to agriculture and a revolution in the power with steamships and railroads, and the second industrial revolution that brought us innovations in steel, petroleum production, as well as electricity. I would argue that now we are facing a major change with this mobility revolution that requires a customer-centric approach to transportation with a robust accountability as well as focus on mobility. I don't think any of us would be doing our job if we didn't stop and remember that our customers come first. That's why we exist. Because in the end, it's about the customer. It's about improving their quality of life. It's about delivering services that allows them to connect with what they need to achieve what they love, to achieve what they dream of and what they aspire to. After all progress and all livability has been built on mobility. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I look forward to continuing our robust discussions during this conference. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathaniel Ford.
All right, thank you. All right.
And now on stage we welcome Philip Washington, the General Director of Los Angeles Metro. We stay in the United States. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me first acknowledge the European Mobility Exhibition. We're very, very happy to be here and very happy to see my colleague, the APTA chairman, Mr. Nathaniel Ford. Thank you for being here. It's great to be here. We are very, very pleased to be the guest of honor for the conference here. We have learned a great number of things already. And we are happy to share our story as well as we walk around the conference and talk to different folks and also talk to the exhibitors and the vendors here at the conference. Let me talk just a little bit about the Los Angeles Metro experience. And just say that there is, as Mr. Ford mentioned, a mobility revolution that is occurring all over the country, and it is definitely occurring in Los Angeles as well. We are a large county. 10 million people in the county. We have 88 cities. We are the largest county in America. And we have a big traffic problem. Big traffic problem. For the 6th year in a row, Los Angeles was voted the worst traffic congestion in the entire world. That is a title we do not want and we do not like. But for the 6th year in a row, you can see what's happening here. We are the 3rd largest transportation system in the United States. We have a large governing board. We have 11,000 employees. We actually provide about 1.3 million rides a day. We have a lot of light rail. We're about to double that light rail to almost 200 miles of light rail. And we also are responsible for highway improvements as well. So you can see our role here on the next slide, where we talk about we are the operator, the builder, the funder, and the regional planner as well. And so we have a lot on our plate. I mentioned that we are undergoing a transportation revolution. And this transportation revolution is really incredible. We're implementing right now the largest transportation expansion program in the country. We're developing Los Angeles International Airport, or LAX. We are working on expanding all of our ports. We have 2 ports in Los Angeles, the Port of Los Angeles and the Long Beach Port, and 40% of the nation's goods come through these ports. And so you can imagine when the ships come in from the Pacific Rim and trucks load those ships, 40% of the nation's goods come through those ports. And of course, we are hosting the 2028 Olympics. Now, this is just a great time to be in Paris, because Paris has the 2024 Olympics and Los Angeles has the 2028 Olympics. And so we are preparing for that. So we believe that we are positioned to be the transportation center of excellence, not only in the United States, but the world as well. And so this transportation center of excellence, we are concentrating on a 5-point plan to get there. And the first is implementing mobility innovation. Mr. Ford talked about mobility innovation. We are looking at that as well. How can we provide high quality options that enable people to spend less time traveling? This whole issue, this whole concept, and I was talking to a reporter this morning, and I mentioned something to her this morning, that we are looking at how we can brand time. We want to give back to people the most important and the most valued commodity that anyone can have, and that is time. And so when we look at congestion in the county of Los Angeles, we think how we can give that time back. We're transforming transportation through what we call a Measure M, or Measure M. In 2016, we went to the voters of Los Angeles County and we asked them to approve a half-cent sales tax to expand our system. That half-cent sales tax, we were bold enough to say that there should be no sunset. There should be no end to that tax, because transportation is an ongoing need. We would not think of not funding education because we know education is an ongoing need. We feel the same way about transportation. This is the most ambitious and comprehensive voter-approved transportation program in America. We are building 40 major highway and transit projects in the first 40 years. We are building 18 mega projects in the next 15 years. And we have been so bold as to embark on an initiative that we call 28 by 2028. This 28 by 2028, what we're saying is we will build 28 projects, mega projects, by 2028, which happens to be the Olympics. Now, this is the most ambitious plan in America today. This 28 by 28 is not just some sort of political gimmickry. It is something that we are going to do with the help of the private sector. This Measure M will generate $860 million a year. And that sales tax, as I said, does not end unless the voters decide to end it. This is the pie that we show of how Measure M will be distributed. I won't go through the whole pie, but I will say that in blue you see there, that is the transit operations. And so a full 35% is dedicated to transit. We have what we call a local return slice of that pie. That local return says that we will give money back to the 88 cities in the county so they can improve their streets, their sidewalks. We have also said that we will keep fares affordable for seniors, for students, and the disabled. And we dedicated a slice of this funding for state of good repair. That means that you cannot build things and don't take care of it. And so what we have said is that repairing in a state of good repair is an ongoing need as well. We have biking and pedestrian connections, and of course, as I mentioned, sidewalk and street repairs. We have also said that we are going to partner with the private sector. Now, I mentioned that this 28 by 2028 initiative is ongoing right now. And so this is 28 projects, and this is highway, rail projects that we're going to do in the next 10 years. Now, this will be impossible to do unless we have a partnership with the private sector. And so we created an office that I call the Office of Extraordinary Innovation. And it's not just the Office of Innovation, because that's not extraordinary enough. It is the Office of Extraordinary Innovation, which says that we will look beyond our current circumstances, and we will look beyond just the traditional way of doing things to actually implement 28 projects in 10 years. Now, how will we do that? How will we accelerate all of these projects in 10 years? Well, what we are saying is that we are going to look at every project delivery method that has been invented and is not even invented. We will look at public-private partnerships. We want the private sector to bring equity to the table and bring money up front, and then we will pay back over an extended period of time or on the back end through availability payments to accelerate these projects, and we will look to transfer risk to the private sector. And so we already have several proposals. We have an unsolicited proposal policy to allow the private sector to bring ideas to us. Because right now, the private sector is so reactive to the public entity. The private sector waits for us to put out an RFP. You respond to that RFP, you wait for us to say who won and who lost, and you are reactive to the public entity. What we are saying is that you can bring your ideas to us unsolicited without waiting on an RFP. We will look at those ideas and we will look to implement those if they make sense for us. We're implementing a micro-transit on-demand bus service pilot program. What we are saying there is that we are going to use smaller vehicles and we are going to create a service, an Uber-like service, at the transit agency using our own drivers as well. So we are looking to innovate. We are looking to think out of the box. The next big 5-point plan, or the second, is capturing the hearts and minds of people. The auto industry has done a great job of capturing the hearts and minds of people. The auto industry has beautiful people, actors and beautiful men and women, and they say, buy this car and you will have freedom. And as you have the convertible and your hair is blowing, not my hair, but your hair is blowing in the wind, they have really put together this great image of car ownership. Well, we have to do the same thing with transit. We have to capture the hearts and minds of people to use public transportation, and that is what we are doing through that effort and through the branding that I mentioned, the branding of saving the most valued commodity on earth, and that is time. Like other agencies, Metro has a drop in ridership, and so we are looking at ways that we can redo our bus system. Much like what Seattle is doing, much like what Houston is doing, we are looking at ways to reclaim former riders and retain current riders as well. We've learned that our riders that are taking the bus, they say it takes too long. Our bus trips take too long. Well, right now in many of the cities, there's bike lanes, there's all kinds of things happening on streets, and they actually slow down our buses, and so we're looking to speed up our system. We are looking at ways for our multi-agency law enforcement partnership as well. We're partnering with the Los Angeles Police Department, we're partnering with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, we're partnering with the police from Long Beach. There is a homeless problem in Los Angeles as well, and so we are working on the homeless issues in the city of Los Angeles. Crime has gone down on our system, and we're looking to improve that even better. We are enhancing our customer experience through new advertising on our system, digital advertising on our system, displays at rail stations and amenities, free Wi-Fi on our systems, charging stations, interactive tablets to search for community information. As I said earlier, we are giving back life's greatest commodity, and that is time. Our third big point is embracing equity. So every project that we do, we are looking through the lens of equity. We are saying, what does that mean for our poorest citizens? What does this project mean for people going to schools and healthcare and access to jobs? So we're embracing equity. We have an equity platform that says we will define equity for people in various communities. We will listen and learn. We will focus and deliver, and we will train and grow. We are looking at transit-oriented communities. We're looking to make sure that people are not displaced in communities where we build new transportation infrastructure. Because so often what happens is we build new transportation infrastructure and the people that we build that infrastructure for have been moved out of that community and the infrastructure that we were building for them in the environmental stage of a project, by the time the project or rail line opens up, it's a whole new community. And what we are saying is that we want the indigenous people of the communities that we are building the infrastructure for not to be displaced. Now, we don't control all of that, we understand that, but we can be innovation instigators as we move through and build new infrastructure. We are building career pathways. What we are saying, and one of the concerns that I have is all of this infrastructure that we're building all over this country and all over the world, as we see natural disasters in Puerto Rico and in Houston and other places, and earthquakes, that is actually destroying infrastructure. And so the concern that we have is, do we have the qualified workforce to rebuild and build the infrastructure in both this country and the world? And so what we're saying is that we are going to be, and we will be, what I call the farm team for the industry. We are going to train people right there in Los Angeles County. On Monday of next week, we are opening a transportation school, grades 6 to 12, to train people on infrastructure, engineers, electromechanics, track maintainers. We are going to train kids at a young age to be able to work in this industry, and we're not worried about them just staying in Los Angeles. We are going to send them all over this country and all over the world with skills that they can use to make a middle-class living. We are indeed creating a new middle class through transportation infrastructure. We are welcoming returning veterans. We are welcoming veterans that have done their time in the military, and we are saying that you are welcome in this industry and that your skills are transferable to the transportation infrastructure world. We're creating opportunities for women and youth, non-traditional jobs for women, jobs that people have said women cannot do. We believe women can do those jobs. And so we are promoting and creating those opportunities. We started a Women and Girls Council at LA Metro to see how we can set women and girls on a path that they have never thought about. I mentioned the development of a transportation school. Again, we're going to kick that school off on Monday, June 18th. If you happen to be in Los Angeles, in South Los Angeles, and one of the toughest parts of Los Angeles is where this school will be. And I'm happy to get back. If I can get out of Paris and get back to Los Angeles, we will do this on Monday. The fourth big piece is fostering continuous improvement. And so what we're saying here is that there are no rules. There are no rules. We are going to look beyond traditional thought, and we are going to deliver mobility services completely out of the box, and we are going to use every project delivery method that we can. We are going to share our lessons learned on guiding principles, and we will share those lessons with the world. We are leveling the playing field for small, minority, women-owned businesses. We are saying that no longer should these small and veteran-owned businesses be just subcontractors to prime entities. What we're saying is that these small businesses should actually prime projects, and the traditional large companies should sub to them. And so we are saying that we are flipping the script. We're flipping the whole paradigm, and we're delivering these projects and services. The idea of building a culture of pride and excellence in service is something that we believe in. We have 11,000 employees, and the motto and the vision is delivering excellence in service and support. And then the fifth and final 5-point plan that we will use to be the transportation center of excellence is what I call stepping into leadership voids. This idea of embracing, influencing, impacting, instigating is something that we are doing. We are stepping into these leadership voids in a number of areas. Affordable housing, as I mentioned. We don't control all of the land use, but we can influence it. So we're stepping into those leadership voids. We're stepping in to the homeless leadership void. We are stepping in all of these leadership voids where we don't see leadership in various areas. We're stepping in to those voids. We know that we can be an instigator. We know that transportation is really what I call a socio-economic enabler. A socio-economic enabler that allows people and facilitates mobility to healthcare and education and the like. And then high-speed rail. We are partnering with our friends at the state level in California to bring high-speed rail to California. In Los Angeles, we have a large station, a Union Station, that high-speed rail will come into, and we find it very important to partner with the state of California on that California high-speed rail. It's about time that the United States has real high-speed rail. And so I put this slide here about creating the first rail car manufacturer in America. Why can't we manufacture railroad vehicles? Why do I have to go around the world and order trains? Why can't we create the first rail car manufacturer in America in Los Angeles County? And I may get beat up by rail car manufacturers here at this conference, but we're gonna make our own freaking trains. Being bold and taking risk, that is what we're doing. On this picture, I mentioned Measure M, the half-cent sales tax. This is Mayor Eric Garcetti and myself. He gives his greetings as well. He was here not too long ago talking about the Olympics for 2024 and 2028. The idea of being bold and saying that a transportation funding package should not end and it should go on. It's all about leaving an infrastructure inheritance for our kids and our grandkids. This is, and we are designed to positively impact people's lives in ways that they don't even realize. We have some young staffers here from Los Angeles, and they came to set up the exhibition for this conference, and I gave them a reading assignment before they came here. And that reading assignment was to read the European Recovery Plan, the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan that rebuilt Europe after World War II. This is what we're doing in Los Angeles County. Our version of a Marshall Plan to leave an infrastructure inheritance for our children and grandchildren. And with the understanding that we may not build infrastructure in a 4-year elected person's term of office. It's going to take us years to build the infrastructure that we need both in America and indeed the world. But the idea of leaving an infrastructure inheritance so our kids and grandkids can look back and say that our parents left this infrastructure inheritance, that is the important point. Thank you so much for having me here. We look forward to learning from our colleagues at the European Mobility exhibition. Thank you for Stephanie. I saw her running around a minute ago. There she is right there. Thank you for hosting us here, and we are enjoying Paris as well. Thank you.
a strong light.